Welcome back with another video on Tryhackme.com. So right now we are on day 2 of DevSecOps learning path. Yesterday we covered few basic steps and the lessons of DevSecOps. So in today's episode we're gonna cover about 1 hour of the content. Okay, as you can see, I'm already on the DevSecOps. I'm gonna click on it. As per our goal, our estimation completion date is on 2nd July 2024. We are behind it. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to make much progress in today's lecture. So let's see. So we are on secure software development. We did cover some basic concept of the DevSecOps, especially introduction to the DevSecOps. As you can see, I made some progress on the path progress. Here you can see we made 2% of the progress, and the next achievement will be the course awaken. Okay, so let's cover the introduction to DevSecOps completely, and in the next lesson we will cover the SDLC, then DLC, which is secure software development lifecycle, and then we'll move on to the security of the pipelines. Okay, so let's continue. Thank you guys for all the love that you guys are giving me on this new channel. As you know, if you're coming from my other channel, which is ScientistZ TV, most of the stuff related to Tryhackme was there, but now I'm moving everything to my personal channel, which is Zahin. Thank you guys for all the support and love that you guys are giving me. So without further ado, let's move on to task 3. We already completed task 1 and 2. If you want to know more about this, just check the last episode, and we're gonna move to the task 3. So the infinite loop. In the previous task, we learned about different software development styles throughout the years. These are just two: agile methodology, and the other one was the waterfall model, right? Other than that, we didn't learn anything. So okay, so we learned different software development styles throughout the years. Okay, just two only. Okay, how these played a big part in inception of DevOps, development and operations together. This task will introduce you to key concept tools and how they all work together. How does DevOps work, right? Before we move on to DevSecOps, development, security, and operations, we need to know what the DevOps is. Okay, DevOps is visualized as an infinite loop, if you say, describing all the comprising phases, right? Okay, so today I'm gonna also speak in Hindi or Urdu and some touch in Punjabi as well, just to make it a little bit more fun for my own community. Okay, so if you don't speak these languages, so I mean, good luck to you. Okay, so let's continue from here. सबसे पहले आएगा plan. So it is plan, then we do plan, and then we monitor, and then we operate, and then we deploy. I think the planning phase will come before everything else. Okay, and then you do release, then you do test, then you do build, and then you do code. Okay, so coding is the first part, right? You do the coding, you do planning, and do you monitoring, and then operate, then you deploy, and then you release, and then you test. Or if you go from here, you build, test, release, deploy, operate, monitor, and then plan again, and then code again. So yeah, I think this is the better way to do it. You code first, or you plan first, then you code, and then you build, test, release, deploy, operate, and monitor. So this is how the things will be. So if you have worked in agile methodology, and if you know about sprints concept, then you know all about this, right? So you do some kind of planning, then based upon the planning, in the sprint planning, you do coding. A developer will do the coding, and then you will deploy your source code using, you will build your source code first. And in the main process, you will also do the testing. Testing could be done by QA, or this could be done by developers itself, the unit testing. And later on, once the release is done, QA can test the published version. So it really depends upon your process. So you test, you release, and yet then you deploy the release is made, and then you deploy the binaries of these release to some servers or containers or whatnot, and then you operate. Basically you run the application and you see everything is working fine. You are also monitor the performance of this application. Everything is working fine. Is there any error? Is there any feedback from the user? Performance is okay. Like all of these things will come into the play. Let's move on. Following the infinite loop of DevOps diagram, let's expand on some DevOps tool processes that we'll look at as we follow the DevSecOps pathway and how they help an organization. So CI/CD. In the previous task, we mentioned CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. CI/CD deals with the frequent merging of code, adding testing in an automated manner to perform checks as new code is published and merged. We can test code as we push and merge thanks to a new dynamic and routine in a deployment, which takes the form of minor code changes systematically and routinely. Thanks to this change in dynamic, CI/CD helps detect bugs early and decrease the effort of maintaining modular code massively, which introduces reliable rollbacks of versions and code. So, I mean, CI/CD is like you are merging the code quite frequently, and you are deploying the code quite frequently to see everything is working fine. So CI/CD itself does not give you much unless you have different environments. For example, you have development environment where you deploy your source code and check, and this website or whatever you are publishing should be considered as a deployed end product that end user will test. Obviously, the published code on the development environment or staging or UAT or pre-production will not be accessible to the end user. It should be in the secure environment where only developers or the in-house team have the access. But you will basically replicate all the steps that you will do in the production. So to make sure that there is no dependency, you are not overlooking anything. For example, load balancer, or if there is any security policy, you need to apply the security policy, right? So everything that you will do on the production, you do on the development, staging, or UAT, depending on your environment. Basically, it depends also on the budget that your team have. Basically, most of the teams will have staging and production, at least two environments, or staging, or you can say pre-production and production environment, to make sure that before you deploy your source code to production, you actually test your source code using CI/CD. So CI/CD have two levels as well. You are merging your source code, and if there is any other dependency like database, so you are merging your database code as well. So it really depends on your tool set and the frameworks that you are using. Okay, so it may involve some manual steps, and it may not involve some manuals. So for example, if you are using C# with entity framework, so everything is within the code itself, even the migration. So it could be like, okay, you can deploy everything from the source code itself. Some of the companies now moving away from this practice because developer can deploy anything on the database side. So usually what they do is they take this source code of the script and they scan it, and then they have their own way of ensuring that everything is working fine. They may execute on some shadow database that it does not delete some of kind of data, right, before they move it to production. So there are a lot of other concepts that you need to learn in order to be effective on DevSecOps. Okay, let's move forward. Infrastructure as a code. Of course, I mean, if you're deploying on the cloud, then even the infrastructure will be available as a code, where a way to manage provision infrastructure through code and automation. Thanks to this approach, we can reuse code used to deploy infrastructure. For example, cloud instances. Yeah, Amazon Cloud, Azure Cloud, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, or whatever cloud, maybe, which helps inconsistent resource creation and management. Standard tools for IAC or Terraform, infrastructure as a code, or Terraform, Vagrant, etc. we will use these tools further in the pathway as we experiment with ISC security. So Terraform, okay. So every cloud provider have its own way of giving you a way to create infrastructure as a code. For example, Azure itself have deployment templates. Basically, everything will be mentioned inside the template, and once you need to create something, you will just give these templates to Azure with some parameter, and it will create it for you. So either you can use, for example, CLI to Azure CLI to create everything for you using infrastructure as a code, or you can use Terraform, which basically is a cloud agnostic tool. You can use it everywhere. Okay, Vagrant as well. So we'll see once we come to that part. Basically, so let's move on to the third one: configuration management. This is where the state of the infrastructure is managed constantly, applying changes efficiently, making it more maintainable. Thanks to this, lots of time is saved, more visibility into how infrastructure is configured. You can use ISC infrastructure as a code for configuration management as well. This is very important. So usually big team have configuration management team itself, which will take care of these things because it's really, really important. So if your company is doing a lot of projects, so the configuration management thing is a must. Orchestration is the automation of workflow. It helps achieve stability. For example, by automating the planning of resources, we can have fast responses whenever there is a problem, e.g. Health checks failing. This can be achieved thanks to monitoring. So this particular component is coming in the monitoring, but it's called health checking. I don't know why they put it on the orchestration. Okay, let's move on. Monitoring focuses on collecting data about performance and stability of the services and infrastructure. This enables fast recovery, helps with cross-team visibility, provides more data to analyze for better root cause analysis, and also generate an automated response as mentioned earlier. So monitoring is a very important component to make sure that your services are working fine. So the last but not least, microservices, an architecture that breaks an application into many small services. This has several benefits like flexibility if there is a need to scale, reduce complexity, and more options to choosing technology across microservices. We will look at these in more detail in DevSecOps pathway. Yeah, so in the microservice, it does not, okay. So if you are not doing microservice, it does not mean that you cannot apply DevSecOps in your process. Even though you are creating service as a service-oriented architecture, you can still create your own version of DevSecOps. But microservices is the way for bigger systems which have a lot of complexity and many teams are working on it. So I have experience in creating microservices, customized microservice environment where different teams can work together to create web services which are independently scalable and which will also reduce the complexity. And there is an ownership for each service as well. I have done this work for a confidential company because I was an ND. I cannot give you much more specifics, but if you are looking for some consultancy, let me know. What helps in adding tests in an automated manner and deals with frequent merging of the small code changes? We already know it's CI/CD. CI-CD. Right? Submit. We are good. In 14 minutes, we are almost done with the task 3. Okay, what process focuses on collecting data to analyze the performance and stability of the services? Monitoring, right? Monitoring. Yes. Whoopee. What is a way to provision infrastructure through reusable and consistent piece of code? Infrastructure as a code. ISC. Okay. Okay, so we are moving to the task 4, shifting left. Let's see what they have for us. It's a small task. Okay, shifting left. Introduction. Security can now be easily integrated because of the excuse me because of the visibility and flexibility that DevOps introduces. Yes, visibility and flexibility is the right term for DevOps. You might have heard of concept shifting left. This means that the DevOps team focuses on instilling security from earlier stage in the development life cycle, introducing a more collaborative culture between development and security. Since security can now be introduced early, risks are reduced massively. In the past, you would find out about security flaws and bugs at a very late stage. This is true. Even in production, they are leading to stress, rollbacks, economic losses. Integrating code analysis tools, automated tests early in the process can now identify the security flaws during early development. Yeah, this is somehow true, but even some of the bugs cannot be, identified unless your code is published. Some bugs or security issues are related to the environment or the infrastructure itself on which you have deployed your source code. So there are two kind of methods that we usually do. One is the static code analysis and the other one is the dynamic code analysis. Since I have studied this in my master's degree that I'm getting from NYU University, so all of this we have taught about. So in order to be secure, you need to run both. Static code analysis can be run during the code building, but dynamic will be run once your code is published, basically. Okay. I think all of this will be there in the DevSecOps pipeline pathway. Shifting left. In the past, security testing was implemented at the end of the development cycle. As the industry evolved, security functions were introduced. Security teams would perform various analysis and security testing in the final stage of the life cycle. Yeah. So क्या होता है कि security team usually were very basic teams, maybe 1 or 2 members, and they were involved at the very late stage where they will do just a dynamic code analysis. Once the code is published, they will try to hack your website, and if your website is working fine, you are good to go. But now, since focus is shifting left, we are shifting left. So we are introducing security into our development life cycle very early. Even if we are doing any source code building, we should be scanning the source code, and we should highlight where the issue is, and developers should fix the code, fix the security vulnerabilities or hotspots or whatnot before it is released to even on staging, right? Okay, depending on the result of security testing, it would either permit the application to proceed for deployment into production, or reject the application and pass it back to developers for remediating the flaws identified. This resulted in long delays in development and frictions between the team. So ये कैसे होगा? For example, अगर आपने already software build कर दिया, you are meeting your timelines, और ये आपने सॉफ्टवेयर हैंड ओवर कर दिया सिक्योरिटी टीम को. सिक्योरिटी टीम ने आपका सॉफ्टवेयर जो है वो देखा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कंसिडर द वेब एप्लीकेशन, उन्होंने डायनामिक्स कोड एनालिसिस किया, उसके अंदर काफ़ी ज़्यादा इश्यूज आ गए. अब आप कहेंगे, जो आपकी मैनेजमेंट टीम कहेगी, तो वो हमने तो सॉफ्टवेयर जो है वो पब्लिश कर दिया हुआ है, लेकिन सिक्योरिटी टीम कहेगी कि ये तो सॉफ्टवेयर पब्लिक यूज़र के लिए है ही नहीं, वी विल नॉट अलाउ इट. सो फिर यहाँ पे फ्रिक्शंस आए थे, क्योंकि आपने ये चीज़ें अपने प्रोसेस के अंदर एम्बेड नहीं की और आप इसको वेरी एंड लेके चले हैं, इसलिए दैट्स वाई. So implement security measures during all stages of development life cycle, shifting left rather than at the end of the cycle will ensure the software is designed with the security best practices built in. That is very, very important. By detecting security flaws early in the development, right? Development. Remediation costs are lower. So it's a business impact as well फाइनेंशियल इम्पैक्ट एज वेल। अगर आप इसको अर्ली करते हैं तो फाइनेंशियली कॉस्ट जो है वो कम होगी, क्योंकि आपने अर्ली डिटेक्ट कर लिया, आपके डेवलपमेंट के साइकिल के अंदर अंदर ही ये चीज़ें जो हैं, बग्स जो हैं, या इश्यूज हैं, सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज, वो रिजॉल्व कर लेंगे, रेदर देन के सॉफ्टवेयर जो है आपके एंड यूज़र को पास चला जाए और वो जो है आपको, आपके एंड यूज़र जो है वो सिक्योरिटी वनरेबिलिटी की वजह से जो है वो इम्पैक्ट हो, तो उधर फिर कॉस्ट ज़्यादा हो जाती है, फिर लीगल बाइंडिंग भी होती है कि आपने अपना सॉफ्टवेयर सिक्योर नहीं किया था, राइट? There would be no need to roll back changes as they are being addressed on time. This reduces costs, builds trust, improve the security and quality of the product. It's very true. Why are we shifting left? Basically, they already explained it, but let's see. Back in the day, before Agile, developers would request infrastructure from IT, even though, I mean, this process is still there in some of the IT companies, but big IT companies such as Microsoft and Google, AWS, and Facebook, others, IBM, they have moved their process away from requesting the infrastructure. They have moved it to self-service architecture, where basically you developers can create infrastructure as per their liking or as per the template that they have provided, the IT team have provided. So it really depends on your company and which level you are operating. Receive servers weeks or months later. Nowadays, this provisioning of infrastructure in the cloud is automated. Yes, this shift has okay. तो यहाँ पे भी एक कैवियट है कि अगर infrastructure you can provision your infrastructure on cloud, that means you are allowing your developers or the DevOps team to create more infrastructure than they have needed. Okay, so in order to lower the cost, you still need to have some kind of process to limit the infrastructure that developers could create. Otherwise, I mean, it is cloud. At the end of the day, maybe after 1 year or your payment cycle, there will be a huge payment bill that you did not planned before. So you need to be considering this point as well. This shift has improved development productivity and speed. Development productivity और speed तो obviously improve होगी, लेकिन cost भी ज़्यादा हो सकती है, cost भी improve हो सकती है. However, this increase velocity can also spark security concerns and lead to flaws that can go unnoticed, right? Attention to quality. Plan and design, develop and build, test, deploy and release, monitor and analyze. Shift left. शिफ्ट लेफ्ट के अंदर, प्लान एंड डिज़ाइन के अंदर, और अटेंशन टू क्वालिटी जो है वो आपके प्लान एंड डिज़ाइन के अंदर और डेवलप एंड बिल्ड के अंदर आ जाती है, जबकि ट्रेडिशनल जो वे है वहाँ पे अटेंशन टू क्वालिटी जो है वो लेटर स्टेज पे आती है, जहाँ पे टेस्ट के अंदर, डिप्लॉय एंड रिलीज और मॉनिटर एनालाइज के अंदर आती है, राइट? Okay, shift left approach ensures these flaws are caught early by introducing processes from start. In this fast-paced environment, post-deployment security reviews of new software versions or analyze of cloud infrastructure configuration become a bottleneck. Even when problems are discovered, there is not enough time to remediate these or remediate them before the next version or feature is introduced. To keep up with the customer needs, they need a fast-paced environment for scaling and growth. Security is at risk of being left behind. Instilling security in the beginning and adopting security testing to become flexible and adapted to the development life cycle increases chances of addressing these promptly. तो कंसिडरिंग कि अगर आप अटेंशन टू क्वालिटी लेटर स्टेज पे करते हैं, वो अर्ली स्टेज पे कर दे, तो उससे क्या होगा, आपके कस्टमर हैप्पी रहेंगे, आप सिक्योरिटी वल्नरेबिलिटीज कम से कम कोड जो आगे आपने डिप्लॉय किया वहाँ पे जाएंगी और अटेंशन टू डिटेल होगी वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. सो इट्स रियली गुड थिंग टू डू दिस शिफ्ट लेफ्ट अप्रोच. This development approach to shifting left is in DevOps can be referred to as DevSecOps, right? Okay. Um, with DevOps, security gets to be introduced early in the development cycle. This minimizes the risk massively. Integrating code analysis tools such as SonarQube and many other, and automated tests earlier in the process can lead to better identification and illumination of the security loopholes. और even जो है लोग ऑटोमेटेड टेस्टिंग के बाद ऑटोमेटेड परफॉर्मेंस टेस्टिंग भी कर रहे हैं. So it really depends, where you are, how mature your process is. And illumination of security loopholes. As the software gets to the deployment stage, everything works smoothly as anticipated. Security in is not an add-on; it's a must-have design feature. In today's world, in 2024, it is a must. Before, it was an optional or add-on thing. Because the business did not see the real value to spend millions of dollars or buying a cost heavy solution to protect their environment, right? Now, after ransomware and many other attacks, now business feel it must be a priority to make sure that their business is continuing to deliver. And for example, if a big system, a big business website is down for a few minutes, they will be losing a lot of customers, right? Because and reputation as well, because your website was down, the business cannot continue. So it's reputation and also customers and also the finance of the business itself that may be impacting. And if your data, if the business's data is lost or somebody compromised and stole your data, the data is everything. Business build on data basically. So now businesses and the business owner feel the urge to introduce the security solution and make it compulsory to must have in design time, right? Blending security in DevOps would enhance the impact of DevOps and eliminate a lot of other bottlenecks that could arise otherwise. Excuse me. With the rise in frequency of cyber threats and tightening regulations are again. Adding security to DevOps is not a choice now, but indeed an obligation. Obligation है. और अगर आपने गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज के साथ काम करना है तो they will introduce their own regulations and frameworks that you need to adhere. और कुछ तो इंटरनेशनल फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपने हेल्थ के अंदर काम करना है तो हिपा फ्रेमवर्क उधर आएगा. अगर आपने किसी गवर्नमेंट के साथ करना है तो निस के जो फ्रेमवर्क हैं 1.0 2.0 जो आ रहे हैं वो आपको कंप्लाई करने पड़ेंगे. और समटाइम्स वो उनके अपने सोर्स कोड एनालिसिस टूल्स होते हैं जो कि जब आपने उनको सोर्स कोड देना है वो खुद ही स्कैन करके आपको बताएंगे कि इसमें कोई वनरेबिलिटी है कि नहीं है. अगर वनरेबिलिटी है तो आपको फिक्स करना पड़ेगा. और समटाइम्स वो प्रोसेस जो आप अप्लाई करते हैं विद इन द टीम इटसेल्फ उस पर भी आपको देखेंगे कि आपने एक राइट प्रोसेस जो है बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस जो सिक्योरिटी के रिलेटेड है वो आपने अप्लाई की हैं कि नहीं की. सो इट ऑल रियली डिपेंड्स where you are working in. Read more about it. You can click on here and they will give you the history of the DevOps. We'll move forward. What term is it used to describe accounting for security from earlier stage in the development lifecycle? What term it is used to describe accounting for security from earlier stage in the development lifecycle? Shifting left. Right? Oh, no. Hint. Shift right. Okay. Not shifting, I think shift left only. Yeah, okay. What is the development approach where security is introduced from early stage of a development life cycle until the final stage? DevSecOps, right? DevSecOps, obviously. What happened? Sorry. Okay, we're back. DevSecOps. Yeah, so we finished the task 4. We are 29 minutes in. Let's continue. I think we need to at least go task 5, 6, and 7 for today. Because we are behind our schedule, we need to have at least 10 hours per week. So let's continue with the DevSecOps. Okay, this video will be a little bit long, maybe close to 1 hour. We are already 30 minutes past, so let's continue. Okay. So yesterday, I was trying to remember which theme they have copied it from. So they copied it from Star Wars, not Galaxy Wars. Okay. DevSecOps Security Strikes Back. DevSecOps Security Strikes Back. उन्होंने एक पोस्टर सा बना दिया, सिक्योरिटी स्ट्राइक्स बैक्स आ गया, और ये कुछ चीज़ें इधर आ गए, स्टेरिंग सेक 3PO and Chu BAQ. I don't know what does that mean, and X Fighter devs. So all of these are here. Let's continue. DevSecOps is an approach that relies heavily on automation and platform design that integrates security as a shared responsibility. Shared responsibility हो जाएगी. It is a culture-driven development style that normalize security as a day-to-day operation. So basically आप क्या करते हैं, आप जो है DevSecOps की अप्रोच के अंदर आप हैवरी रिलाई करते हैं ऑटोमेशन और प्लेटफॉर्म डिज़ाइन के ऊपर, और जिसके अंदर सिक्योरिटी जो है वो सिर्फ साइबर सिक्योरिटी डिपार्टमेंट का नहीं है इशू, बल्कि इसको हम एज ए शेयर्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेते हैं कि आपने कोड भी अच्छा करना है, राइट? व्हाट इज़ द वैल्यू? DevSecOps helps bring down vulnerabilities, maximizes test coverage, intensifies the automation of security frameworks. This reduces risk massively, assisting organization in preventing brand reputation damage, जो कि मैंने पहले आपको बताया था, and economic loss due to security flaws, incident making life easier for auditing and monitoring. So basically आप ये बता सकते हैं कि देखो मेरे प्रोसेस के अंदर मैं कोड स्कैन कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन अगर फिर भी कोई सिक्योरिटी फ्लॉ आया है तो वो 0 डे है. वी डिड नॉट नो अबाउट दिस, so we did not take care of it, right? How to implement this efficiently? कल्चर इसी की, कल्चर से ही आप सारी चीज़ें बनाएंगे, क्योंकि हमने पहले पढ़ा था कि सेल्फ ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम अगर नहीं होगी एजाइल में और DevSecOps में और DevOps में इन जनरल, तो ये बेसिकली आपका सारा प्रोसेस ही फेल हो जाएगा. तो कल्चर इज़ ए थिंग. कल्चर जो है आपने बनाना है कंपनी में. Unless culture is there, otherwise you will not be that successful or you will not be that efficient. It does not work without open communication and trust. It only works with collective effort. And DevSecOps should aim to bridge the security knowledge gaps between the teams. ये भी बहुत ज़रूरी है. सिक्योरिटी नॉलेज गैप्स को कवर करने के लिए आपको वर्कशॉप्स देनी पड़ेंगी ताकि आपको सारी चीज़ें कवर हो. For everyone to think, be accountable for security, they first need the tools and knowledge to drive this autonomy efficiently and confidently. So इसके लिए हमारे पास टूल होने चाहिए जिससे हम जो है नॉलेज जो है वो ड्राइव करें. नॉलेज ड्राइव करने से मुराद है कि लोगों को ट्रेनिंग दें. DevSecOps challenges, security silos. It is common for many security teams to left out of DevOps processes, portray security as a separate entity, where specialized people can only maintain and lead security practices. This situation creates a silo around security and prevents engineers from understanding the necessity of security or applying security measures from the beginning. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. I mean, if your developer doesn't know about security, and they will never apply it in their source code unless you introduce some tools to teach them that this is the way forward, and they must learn about security. This is very true. Security silo usually is there. This is not scalable or flexible. Security should be a supportive function to help other teams scale and build security without security teams being a blocker, but rather a ramp to promote secure solutions and decisions. The best practice is to share these responsibilities across all team members instead of having a specialized security engineer. I mean, you need to have a specialized security engineer at first, but this security engineer will teach others to understand their responsibility, and they need to also take the ownership that this is a shared responsibility between us and security team, right? Okay, just a minute. Okay. Lack of visibility and prioritization. Aim to create a culture where security and other essential application component treat security as a regular aspect of the application. This is very important. Developers can then focus on development with confidence about security instead of security departments playing police and blame the game and the blame game. Trust should be built between teams. Security should promote the autonomy of teams by establishing processes that instill security. Stagnant processes. It's really important. A lack of visibility and prioritization. Prioritization should be there. Or blame game to hogi. I mean, it is obvious, but in order to reduce it, you need to take it as a shared responsibility. शेयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अगर करेंगे तो तभी ये चीज़ें आगे बढ़ेंगी. So it is stringent processes or stringent processes. I think hard processes. Every new experiment or piece of software must not go through a complicated process and verification against security compliance before being used by developers. Procedures should be flexible to account for these scenarios. Obviously, there should be automated tools which can scan your source code and tell you that if it is okay or not. Where lower level tasks should be treated differently, the higher risk tasks and changes are targeted for these more stringent processes, or I think mispronouncing it, stringent processes or whatever. Developers need environments to test new software without common security limitations. These environments are known as sandbox or whatever, which are temporary isolated environments. These environments have no connection to any internet network and have no customer data. So sandbox में क्या होता है, आप अपना सॉफ्टवेयर जो है टेस्ट कर सकते हैं इन केस के उसके अंदर कोई वनरेबिलिटी थी या कोई ऐसा कोड था जो कि आपने थर्ड पार्टी लाइब्रेरी यूज़ की है. तो सैंडबॉक्स बेसिकली सैंडबॉक्सिंग से आपको आपके प्रोग्राम के बारे में पता लग जाएगा कि कोई अनॉमली तो नहीं आ रही, कोई मिसबिहेव तो नहीं है कर रहा. तो ये जो है सैंडबॉक्सिंग बेसिकली मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल नहीं यूज़ करते, लेकिन ये नया कॉन्सेप्ट है. इट्स नॉट अ न्यू कॉन्सेप्ट बट in context of the software development ये नई चीज़ है. इसमें क्या करते हैं कि आपका सॉफ्टवेयर जो एप्पल सैंडबॉक्स पे डिप्लॉय करके जिसके बारे में आपको हो कि ये हाई रिस्क है, उसका पहले देखते हैं, ह्यूरिस्टिक एनालिसिस करते हैं और उसको जो सिग्नेचर बेस्ड एनालिसिस भी करते हैं कि इसमें कोई वायरस तो नहीं है, और फिर उसका बिहेवियर भी देखते हैं. और जब बिहेवियर का पता लगता है कि एवरीथिंग इज़ वर्किंग ओके, एवरीथिंग इज़ नॉर्मल, सो फिर जो है सैंडबॉक्स से निकाल के स्टेजिंग और बाकी इन्वायरमेंट्स पे आप लेके जाते हैं. ओके, वी आर वेरी क्लोज. What DevSecOps challenge can lead to silos culture? Security silo, right? Silos का था कि silo है. Silos. I hope this is the answer. Yeah. What DevSecOps challenges can affect not prioritizing the right risk at the right times? क्या अफेक्ट कर सकते हैं? Challenge can affect not prioritizing the not sure. Lack of visibility, I think. Yeah, lack of visibility. But DevSecOps challenge stems from needlessly overcomplicated security processes. Stems from needlessly overcomplicating security processes. ये वाला stringent processes. I mean, hard, very hard, and not easy to modify. इतने अगर हार्ड होंगे तो आप जो हैं बेसिकली ओवर कॉम्प्लिकेट सिक्योरिटी पॉलिसीज प्रोसेसेस को कर देंगे, तो फिर क्या होगा, डेवलपर्स बेसिकली जो चीज़ इजी नहीं है वो अडॉप्ट नहीं करेंगे. इट शुड बी इजी, सिक्योरिटी शुड बी इजी. इट इज़, I mean, inherently hard, But in order to adopt the policies should be made easy for developers or other people in the process, so they can adopt it. अगर ये hard to adopt है तो कोई भी नहीं करेगा, right? So this is the main challenge and the culture that you need to build. DevSecOps culture promote autonomy of teams. Whether it is a large organization or startup in hyper growth, the only way to not leave security behind is by promoting the autonomy of the teams. This can be done by automating processes that fit seamlessly with development pipelines until security tests become just another type of test, right? Like unit testing, smoke, bomb, and other testing. Okay. Leading by example, promoting education like creating playbooks, run books to spot these flaws and fix them, understand their risk, and build confidence in engineers to make the secure decision independently. The ratio of developers, platform, infrastructure, engineers, the etc. won't be the same as security engineers. We must understand they can't be in the every conversation. Security should act as a supporting function that focuses on building trust and creating as much overlap in knowledge between teams as possible. Right? Security के बंदे always security engineer जो है वो टीम में नहीं हो सकते. बस अगर आपने autonomy of teams करनी है तो basically आप decentralized टीम की तरफ जाएं जहाँ पे एक सिक्योरिटी इंजीनियर, एक सीनियर सिक्योरिटी डेवलपर बेसिकली इंगेज होगा आपकी टीम के अंदर, जो कि बाकी टीम को लीड करेगा और वो कोड रिव्यू भी करेगा और वो देखेगा कि कैसे जो है कोड जा रहा है. और ऑब्वियसली अगर ऑटोमेटेड प्रोसेस है तो सिक्योरिटी इंजीनियर की भी आपको उस तरह से ज़रूरत नहीं है. जब आपका प्रोसेस जो है थोड़ा सा मैच्योर हो जाएगा तो बेसिकली वो जो ऑटोमेटेड टूल्स हैं वो सिक्योरिटी इंजीनियर का रोल ले लेंगे. लेकिन सिक्योरिटी इंजीनियर शुड बी देयर जो कि आपको गाइड करे और आपका नॉलेज गैप जो है वो देखे. या सिक्योरिटी आर्किटेक्ट शुड बी देयर जो कि आपकी ये सारी चीज़ें देखे और आपको जो है आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट के मुताबिक सोल्यूशन सजेस्ट करे कि ये चीज़ जो है आप यूज़ करें. सो इट्स अ न्यू काइंड ऑफ थिंक. Before it was solution architect, now solution architect are becoming more of security architect. So you need to have knowledge in order to provide a secure solution, which is the main ask in the world of generative AI. Visibility and transparency. For every tool being introduced or practiced, there needs to be a supporting process that provides visibility and promote transparency to other teams. This means that if we want to build autonomy in groups, as mentioned earlier, they need to have visibility on the security state of the service they own or maintain. Yes, there should be a portal which will tell what is the overall score of their source code or whatnot. For example, a dashboard visualizes the number of security flaws by the criticality of the service. This helps prioritize accordingly so tasks don't get lost in the backlog or noise. Of course, they can tackle flaws at the right time. The security state measure depends on the company, but it could be number of high findings a service might or might not have, which determines if it is a good security state. So for example, अगर आपकी कंपनी जो है वो ज़ीरो टॉलरेंस है सिक्योरिटी बग्स के ऊपर और अगर आपके कोड के अंदर हाई सिवियरिटी के एक भी बग है तो वो आपका गेट, सिक्योरिटी गेट और क्वालिटी गेट जो है वो फेल हो जाएगा. इन दैट सिनेरियो डेवलपर्स को अगर एक भी सिक्योरिटी बग है वो फिक्स करना पड़ेगा और जब तक वो फिक्स नहीं करेंगे आपका कोड जो है वो रिलीज की शक्ल में आगे नहीं जाएगा. तो इट रियली डिपेंड्स कि कितना सिक्योर आपका प्रोसेस है. Okay, let's move forward. Transparency would refer to introducing tools, practices that are accessible to teams. For example, if you present a check before merging code and the review does not pass and shows a message saying signature of possible code injection flaw detected, please remediate. The developer or engineer should have access to the tool that is flagging that message. So developer को access to tool होना चाहिए ताकि यूजली टूल जो है जब आपको कोई मैसेज बताते हैं कि कोई इशू है, उसका रेमेडिएशन स्टेप जो है वो भी बताते हैं कि ये इशू क्यों है, क्यों जो है वो टूल ने इशू जो है हाईलाइट किया है। मे बी कोई सिनेरियो है, मे बी वो ओवेस्प टॉप 10 से लेके आए हैं, सैंस 25 से लेके आए हैं, या कोई वनरेबिलिटी जो है वहाँ से वो स्टैंडर्ड उठा के लाए, या वो कोई निस का स्टैंडर्ड उठा के लाए। तो यूजली जो है डेवलपर्स को वो लिंक मिल जाते हैं, रेफरेंस लिंक मिल जाते हैं यहाँ, जहाँ से वो पढ़ सकते हैं और अप्रोप्रिएट जो है फिक्स, जो अगर टूल ने बताया वहाँ से फिक्स ले सकते हैं। नहीं तो वो जो मैसेज है अप्रोप्रिएट फ्रेमवर्क के अंदर वो सर्च करके वहाँ से जो है फिक्सेस लेके आ सकते हैं। If you're a developer, these all things should, make sense. Usually, these analysis tools, the flag, those alert have a UI that specifies the line in the code where it is affected. They include a definition and a remediation suggestion with steps. Yes, of course, of course. In this example, a developer role can be created so that they have access to more information. This promotes education and autonomy by extending transparency that traditionally was only accessible by security teams, right? Account for flexibility thanks to understanding and empathy. As mentioned earlier, instilling security in DevOps processes with visibility and transparency is no easy task. There is a factor that can determine success: the level of understanding and empathy. This means that the definition of risk for security teams is unequivocal. Just a minute, guys. Account for flexibility thanks to understanding and empathy. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue from here. As mentioned earlier, instilling security in DevOps processes with the visibility and transparency is no easy task. Yes, we know that. There is a factor that can determine success: the level of understanding and empathy. This means that the definition of risk for security team is unequivocal. But for other teams, risk can be different, of course, just as precise for them. This does not only apply to risk, but to an umbrella of things. It ramifies into what they prioritize, how they work, what they think is important enough to leave aside a project with a tight deadline to fix a bug. Yeah, so as I told you before, कि सिक्योरिटी जो है वो सिक्योरिटी, साइबर सिक्योरिटी के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है और उनकी KPIs बनी होगी, उन्होंने अचीव करनी है। और एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, if you follow the news, CISO, Chief Information Security Officers, now are liable if there is any data breach in their organization. So somebody can sue them, right? So it's a really, really important job. और इसका मतलब ये है कि जो चीफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी ऑफिसर है उसकी बात आपको माननी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि वो ओनरशिप ले रहा है और कोर्ट में वो लायबल भी है। तो ये बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट जो है वो जॉब बन गई है। यू कैन CEO इतना लायबल नहीं है जितना एक चीफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी ऑफिसर लायबल है। तो या क्योंकि चीफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी साइजो जो है वो लायबल है, तो उसके लिए सिक्योरिटी डिफरेंट मीनिंग रखती है और एक डेवलपर के लिए सिक्योरिटी में डिफरेंट मीनिंग रखती है। सो बोथ काइंड ऑफ कॉन्टेक्ट्स आर देयर फॉर यू टू evaluate. There is no magic tool or process for everyone. Of course. It is essential to understand how developers, engineers work, what they know to be a risk, what they prioritize. If you know their perspective, it's easier to build a process that finds common ground and has a higher chance to work versus adding another tool that creates more noise, stress for everyone. This understanding builds perspective, which accounts for empathy for how other teams work. Build a process that accounts for flexibility. This is needed because every situation might be different, deadlines might be different, and bandwidth can change over time. आल्दो के एम्पैथी होनी चाहिए कि उनका हर एक का काम आसान करना चाहिए हर एक को, लेकिन एट द एंड ऑफ द डे पीपल आर वर्किंग फॉर मनी, राइट? और उन्होंने उतना ही काम करना है जितना आसानी से उनके साथ हो जाए और जो उनके परव्यू में आता हो। और क्योंकि सिक्योरिटी की ऑनरशिप जो है उनकी नहीं है, वो साइबर सिक्योरिटी के डिपार्टमेंट की है, और इसलिए कहा गया है कि शेयर्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जब होगी कि अगर कोई मसला हुआ तो सारे लायबल है इसमें, नॉट जस्ट साइबर सिक्योरिटी टीम ओनली, राइट। तो इसलिए एम्पैथी होना बहुत ज़रूरी है। जब आप उनको अपना नुक्ता नज़र बयान करेंगे तो हो सकता है कि वो आपकी हेल्प करें, पर यूजुअली जो है, इसलिए जो बड़े सॉफ्टवेयर हाउसेज हैं या जो बड़ी आईटी फर्म्स हैं, वो आपका EQ भी टेस्ट करती है, इमोशनल कोटेशन जो है वो भी टेस्ट करती है, ताकि देखें कि क्या कल्चरल फिजिबिलिटी है, क्या टीम मेंबर जो है जो टेक्निकल तो ठीक है, क्या उसके साथ माइंडसेट भी मिलता है टीम का कि नहीं। So it's really important. Sometime even I do a lot of interviews. Sometimes if engineer is okay, but there is not cultural fit, then we don't go for that candidate, because it's really important that the culture that we have envisioned, uh, and the candidate who we're gonna hire should have some kind of matchability, or some kind of flexibility that he can adopt. If we know that he cannot adopt our culture, then we cannot hire. Because at the end of the day, this new resource could become a weak link to the whole organization. And as you know, that agile teams are always self-organizing team, right? As a DevOps engineer, as a DevSecOps engineer, security is there. Suppose you took the time to understand how a team owns a service. In that case, that will have a security scanner added to its development process, worked and viewed priority. It will be easier to get their buy-in and demonstrate value, of course. For example, if it's a platform team owns an internal service but a core service, a risk would be a bug that disrupts the service, not a potential injection that lives behind a proxy. You would need internal credentials to exploit it. You can tune the scanner or add a triaging process that tackles the questions they would ask themselves. And this would in turn build trust versus crying wolf and security processes being questions. I read about DevSecOps success stories here. So you can go online, see SO online, and you can read the stories. We're gonna move ahead. How can you make security scalable so it's not left behind when startups face hypergrowth or in large corporations? So it's a forward. Promote autonomy of teams, right? Yeah, I think that is the case. Autonomy of the teams. So teams can work independently and they need to follow the process. Yeah. How can you support teams in understanding risk and educating on security flaws? Visibility and transparency. So they know how their software is doing in terms of security. What are key factors to successfully instill security in the development process by accounting for flexibility? So it's a 3-word. Account for flexibility, understanding and empathy. Understanding and empathy, I think this is what we need. Yeah, okay, so we are back to this, back down to this task 7. We still have 7 minutes to go. I think we'll be able to do something here. Okay, so they are saying visit the site. I think it will open side by side. Tryhackme comics. Something is there. Okay, they have some pencil as well. I don't know what we need to do, but let's see. Software development models. Sec3 PO, Xfighter Dev, Juba QA, S2A2 have been assigned to discover minerals in nearby planets in the galaxy. Watto, the bug is finding the mission by providing equipment and fuel to carry out this project. They are tasked to set a course and research these planets. Can you guess which software development methodology they have used in each case to achieve the mission? Click view side, we already did. Button on the right hand side, and look at the static side attached to this task. Can you figure out which approach was taken in each comic snippet? Okay. Code is there. Let's go to test tone. Okay. What happens here? Some tests have pass trajectory to test tone can be done. System have been deployed. How are you gonna pay for all this? How are you gonna pay for all this? Okay. View this comic again. Click the view side. Everything is built ready for test tone. Tests have failed, but tests have failed. But they pass if we go to Hackboo. Let's do that instead. I have developed the new build, but this version is for try to hack me. It's better. How's you gonna pay for all this? Okay, this is comic 1. So model, okay. Travel plan with the least amount of risk possible. Accounts for 130 light years of travel. Waterfall, agile, DevOps. So testos, least amount of risk possible. Okay, least amount of risk. So pass, but we can pass Hackaboo. Hackaboo is 100. Okay. Some tests have passed good. Testers of which was initial decision by X Fighter Dev. It is decided that it is the next planet to visit. Comic 1. Okay. What software development method did the team in the Comic 1 follow? I think waterfall. This is waterfall, obviously, because they are not changing it, right? They are not changing it. Yeah, okay. So this is second. Some tests are failing. Some tests indicates that it is a high risk to travel to Testone. First, some tests have passed for Nabo, but S2 had decided the code should be changed to Hod. Nabo. Hakabu, I think. Hakabu. And but they are saying let's go to Tryhack. I don't know which one they are using, but in Agile usually you can change. Yeah, okay. So we are good. Next third is everything is built ready for try hot hack me. Try hot me. How you gonna pay for all this? Eject from spaceship. Test pass. Everything is deployed. Let's go to the Dagaboo instead. Dagaboo, where is it? 60. I'm not sure, but I think it's DevOps, right? Initial decision on analysis by X Fighter Dev is travel to Hod, cause for questions, and although Hod is one of the closest, analyze that trajectory has been set a new parameter test. Checkaboo has contributed to change the orbit to Dogaboo based on the further tests. I think, yeah, because we don't have money to go there, so let's in the DevOps thing, because we did not have enough money to go to the Tryhackme, which is 80 light years away. So instead, our system engineer said, okay, let's go to Dagaboo because we have the money to go there, right? What is the flag? Okay, we need to give the flag. Flag is this one. I hope I can copy it. Time 2, 3. Submit. Yahoo! So, guys, we have passed. We are still 6 seconds ago. We completed this room within 1.5 hours. Congratulations. Once we'll come back, we'll start the next room in this module, which is SDLC, and hopefully in one video we'll be able to complete this. Guys, let me know if you have any questions. Put your question in the comments below. If you want me to change something in this walkthrough, let me know. And if there is any other part that you would like me to put up walkthrough on this channel, let me know, guys, as well. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.